Here are the tests on my 2023 Project Source Pro Flush Dual. It is set to the water line on the original flush valve and of course using original parts. But before I give it a flush, I will just let you guys know that I will not be doing a dirt test. There is so much water on the ground right now, as you can see right here, that instead I will be doing a mud test, which is probably more realistic. So let's flush this toilet and then see how it does on tests. The flush is pretty nice. Maybe a little bit short, but then again, that's the case with all new toilets. As you probably expected, all of these tests will be done using the 1.6 gallon option because 1.6 gallons is meant for solids, and that is exactly what I'll be flushing. However, I am going to do a dye test, and I'm going to use the 1.1 gallon button for that to see if that actually is effective or not. So for the first test, let's see if it can take a washcloth. I don't think I've seen a new toilet fail a washcloth before, so I think it has a 100% chance of passing. It did perfectly, as expected. Now, let's see if it can take a grocery bag. I'm not 100% sure this will pass, but I think it will. I think it struggled a little bit, but it still did really well. Now, let's see if it can take the washcloth and the grocery bag together. I think it will clog, but I'm going to try it again if it does, and I'm going to hold the button down. So for this one, I'm just going to do a press and release, and I do not think it will pass. Like I imagined, it looks like it could have gone through with more water. However, I am going to wait for the tank to fill back up, and I'm going to hold the button down and see if it can unclog itself. Then after that, I am going to lay it out again and hold the button down for the first flush and see if it can take it that way. Doesn't look like it's going to go through. Still not doing it. I'm going to try something that I've never actually done before in the history of my tests. I'm going to make a siphon jet for this toilet, and I'm going to see if I can unclog it by spraying it. That was pretty neat. I might do that in future tests. It's a lot more interesting than just sticking my hand in there and going at it. So, like I said before, I'm going to try this again, but this time I will hold the button down. That was awesome. It clearly needed the button held down for it to pass, and it struggled, but it didn't clog. Now, let's see if it can take the dish towel. This will almost certainly fail. Wow, that actually got pretty far. I still don't think it'll take it though. That's not moving. That's not going to do it either. It's jammed. So I'm going to lay this back in there once the tank fills up, and I'm going to try that test again, but this time I will hold the button down. I still think it'll clog, but it has a better chance this time. It actually looks like it's going to go somewhere, and that's the good part. But it won't. It's just too big. So I'd say the performance on this toilet is pretty good. It's definitely usable. And if I raise the water level another ½ inch to the very top of that pipe, the flush will improve significantly. I've done this before and it actually makes a difference. So I might as well try that. I might as well give it one last flush before I start filling it with mud and die. So I'll wait for the tank to fill up and I'll show you guys what that looks like. It was a little more powerful. The siphon was a little bit weaker than I'd like, but that's not bad. So now that the performance tests are over, let's see how it flushes with a clogged siphon jet. And I'm going to give you guys a little more brightness there. I honestly think it might siphon, but I don't know for sure. Awesome. Now, just for fun, I'm going to fill the tank all the way to the top, and I'm going to hold the button down, and I'm going to see how it flushes then. That was super awesome. I'm really glad I did that. So this is actually about a week after I shot the first part of the video. It rained a lot. I wasn't able to finish the video because it started pouring, and then time got away from me. I got busy, and so now here I am, and let's try that ash. And the bowl is totally dry, so I'm going to flush it, and I'll be right back. And I don't really like all those big clumps because the bowl is not supposed to have big chunks on the sides. They're supposed to go right there. And this is just to keep the sides clean. So now let's see if it can take ash. Honestly, I think the bowl rinse is pretty bad. It took a little while to get that stuff off. It did leave some. The bowl clearance is usable, I'd say. It's not good, really. It looks like the rinse covers most of the bowl, but it's very weak. There's that little missed spot right there. I don't really see why it missed that. The jets look pretty nice. I'm going to give it another flush and see how much of this it can take. So this stuff here, even if it was a 3.5 gallon toilet, it would leave this. I don't know why the ash does this. That's why I don't like using it. But again, all of the dirt around here is wet, so I cannot use normal dirt. But overall, I'd say this toilet seems all right. And so now for this next test, please excuse the noise, but now for the next test, I am going to try using dye on the 1.1 gallon setting, also known as the small flush. So I've prepared some water with dye in it, and I'll get this rest of the dirt out of the bowl, and then I'll be right back with that. Right now, I'm under the impression that dual flush toilets are a gimmick and that they don't actually work. So this test will either change my opinion or reinforce it. As you can clearly see, that water is blue. So if you do go number one, use the full flush, or you'll have a toilet with a ton of mineral buildup. And it'll look like that 2014 Glacier Bay that I sent a bowling ball through. So dual flush toilets are indeed a gimmick. Just get the single flush, or if you want 1.6, get a dual flush toilet and only use the big flush, because they actually still allow 1.6 gallons if it has the option to use 1.0. But anyway, that is all for these tests. If you enjoy my videos, please subscribe and turn on notifications. It helps my channel a lot and I really appreciate it. Thanks for watching, and see you guys in the next video.